Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Artist Journey. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Megaciph, a true hip hopper, true community leader. So, the way we like to start off every episode is to read off the Yogi Tea. So, do you have the message of what your Yogi Tea says?
My Yogi Tea. My message today. Life is best lived by focusing on your goals and dancing through all other distractions.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I think that's very timely for me right now.
Yes.
My life right now is filled with a lot of goals and goal setting and achieving those goals. And when growth happens, a lot of growth in a year with my Vital Movement, with the new dropping of an album, a divorce last year, I have 3 children. There's a lot of growth and a lot of distractions. And what has kept me focused and winning has been goals. I am focused on my goals. I work closely with CEO Self and Juice. Mindset first, career second is my mantra. I'm a rhino. I'm a member of the Crash Crew. I recommend it for any independent artist. Look up CEO Self Mastery. Yeah,
Beautiful.
definitely.
Thank you. So, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I was born in White Plains and raised in Brooklyn from the age of 5 till about 16 years old. And I moved to Atlanta when I was a junior in high school. And I am, that's definitely where I'm from, is Brooklyn. It's still in my voice. I'm the culture. I feel like I was born in the golden era of hip hop and raised in the golden era of hip hop in 2 of its best cities at the time. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. And Brooklyn is where hip hop started. So, or New York is where hip hop started. So it's awesome that you're from there. So yeah. What influenced you to start making music on your own as a hip hopper?
As a hip hopper, what influenced me to start making music was my mom. What influenced me to get into creativity in general, I think, was my mom and performance, seeing her perform often, going to rehearsals. She was in a lot of off-Broadway shows, and I used to go to be backstage. So living in a house filled with vinyl records and hearing everything from, Mozart on vinyl to um, to like Stevie Wonder on vinyl was a beautiful childhood. Uh, um, I've been writing since I was 13, and I think just being, I was originally into heavy metal before hip hop. 12 and 13, I was riding a skateboard. Listened
That's cool.
to a lot of Megadeth, Anthrax, like hardcore, like death metal, Megadeth. Yeah, Alice Cooper, and then my friends got me a Kool Moe Dee tape, and that was probably the end of my heavy metal days and the beginning of my hip hop days.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, in addition to making music, you are a supporter of Dope Coffee, ATL, a coffee brand that bridges the gap between hip hop and coffee. Can you tell us a bit about your passion behind this brand?
I support Dope Coffee. Dope Coffee supports the Vital Movement through a sponsorship deal that they offered. They offered us a bag deal, honestly, for the Vital Movement. And we kind of got into a really good relationship, and I wound up being an executive with Dope Coffee. So I'm now their lead A&R. They're grassroots. They like the independent approach to business. They source the beans themselves. These guys do. They're family owned, family run, black owned. It's a small group, and they do everything except grow the beans. You know, they came to the Vital Movement back in December, and then we've been cultivating the relationship ever since. And I support them because it's dope coffee is. I love the name, dope coffee, but it's not hip hop. It's not weed infused. It's hip hop infused.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think it's just a good look, and I'm a coffee drinker, so I think it's a good look, and I look forward to growing with them and seeing where we go in the very near future.
That's excellent. So, based off my research, you have multiple albums out. You have 13 albums out, but we spoke earlier. You said no.
I have 13 releases. So if you look on my Bandcamp page, you'll see 13 individual releases.
Right.
But 5 of them are standalone singles that aren't attached to any albums. And then I have 8 solo albums.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And you have your latest album is called Frequency. That's FREAK, when CSEE. So can you tell us a little bit about the motivation behind this album? And for those of you who did not hear this album, it's a high vibrational, positive sound. It gets you moving. It's filled with positive energy. So can you tell us about this album?
Frequency is my 8th album. It's my truest work to date about my actual day-to-day life. You know, Civil I Am was a very seminal album for me. I was coming out about my military experiences, but Frequency is me really being the Hip-Hopper Pappa, really embodying dad raps as hip-hop culture, you know? Like the raps on the album are dad raps. I'm rapping about being a father, and I've just figured out a way to make it sound cool. You know, so people freak out when they see me because I'm an old man rapping. They expect me to rap a hippie, the hip hop hippie, the hip, you know what I'm saying? 1, 2, buckle your shoe type raps, I guess, is what they expect from me. But I've been writing constantly since I started. You know, I never stopped writing. I never stopped recording. I never stopped freestyling and going out to clubs. And I've lived in New York, Atlanta, Kansas City, and Mobile, Alabama. So I've gotten to work with artists from all over the country. And Frequency and Megaciph, mental energies gather and circulate in positive harmony, and Frequency are this way for people to elevate and tune in to a higher frequency. People freak out when they see me, they freak out when they hear me, and so that's why the album is Frequency. I wanted to elevate the mind state.
That's a cool play on words too. So that's awesome. And can you tell us about like hip hop? Because the 4 pillars of hip hop.
Yeah, so I'm a hip-hopper. I'm the Hip-Hopper Pappa. Hip-hop is a culture built on pillars, which are DJing, writing, which is graffiti art, breaking, which is dancing, b-boying and b-girling, and then MCing, which is rapping. A lot of people mess up and say, oh, he's not a hip-hopper, he's a rapper. If you're a rapper, you're a hip-hopper. And vice versa. Well, not vice versa. You can be a hip-hopper, but not be a rapper. Because you can be into breaking. You can be a DJ. You can be into writing graffiti, but you're still a hip-hopper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A hip-hopper is a person who lives the culture. The culture is made up of these elements. DJing, graffiti writing, breaking, which is dancing. Nowadays, it's movement. And MCing, which is the art of storytelling. And then you have a DIY element. You have entrepreneurship, because we have to make things from nothing. We have to create from the mud. Hip-hop comes out of the inner cities. Hip-hop comes out of the Bronx, the South Bronx, 1973, to be very specific. But at the same time, there was hip-hop happening in Los Angeles. At the same time in 1973, there were people rapping in Chicago and people rapping in Detroit. So everywhere at the same time, hip hop culture was sprouting up. It was always people with a record, a record player in some way, a 2-track recorder, and a dream, and that's where the culture comes from. Punk rock started at the same time, but punk rock started in the suburbs, and those kids had garages and money, and so punk rock comes from a little bit more stability than hip hop, financially. But that's where the culture comes from. That's what it's all about. It's about making something out of nothing, creating something that is truly authentically you and feeds you. If you can feed more than you, if you can feed the community, great. But hip hop is about making something out of nothing and surviving in a world where nobody wants you.
Well said. Well said. So in addition to being a hip hopper and an advocate for dope coffee and all the other amazing things you do, you're also the creator and host of the Vital Movement, which is an open mic and cypher networking event. So my experience of attending the Vital Movement, each showcase feels like the very last or the very first showcase, because it's packed with so much energy and it's packed with so much positivity, and you're the force, you're the light of that. So can you tell us a little bit about what the Vital Movement is, what the movement is, and why is it vital to our community?
The Vital Movement is vital because hip hop is the only culture in the world that has ever transcended genres at this point, demographics, and borders. There's no other music that children in Palestine are creating while children in Hong Kong are also creating the same music. You know what I'm saying? Because you can do hip hop with a table. You can do hip hop with a table and your words. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't take much, and people are doing it everywhere. It is also a movement that creates freedom and liberates people. Hip hop culture in general gets people up. It gets people moving. The music is a motivational force in and of itself. And from where it comes from and what it's doing for people today is all about movement and uplifting. It lifts people up literally. So I think the Vital Movement is what I see as the culture that I'm a part of acted out in the world. It's a safe space for artists to come and learn, grow, develop, get feedback in a supportive way, learn about mic control, learn about breath control and enunciation and projection and songwriting structure, even in a way that's helpful and beneficial. Why do I do it? I did it because I didn't see anything like it in the city. I did it here in Atlanta. I did it in New York from 2010 to 2012 as part of That's Goodness Entertainment, which was a human rights record label that I incorporated in New York State. And I needed a real world activation. So we created the Vital Movement. And the Vital Movement is exactly the same structure as it was there. It's open mic list, feature artist, and freestyle cipher, all in the same night, which encourages and informs the art. I do freestyle because it informs the written game. We all freestyle when we're writing. We're all coming up with melodies and coming up with lines in a form of freestyle. And so many of us are scared to do it in public. But I believe that until we really go into that fear, we can't find out who we truly are. So that's why I do that at the Vital Movement. I saw a lot of my big brothers in New York run some of the dopest open mics in the world. And that's where I learned it from. And so that's where the Vital Movement comes from.
That's excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for creating it and showing up every week, every day.
Consistency.
So, consistency is
dedication.
Key. Yes, and it's important too.
Yeah.
So, as you know, being a rapper, being a hip hopper, or any type of artist, you need to have good business and good marketing, a good marketing strategy, and that you're not just an artist, or you're not just a businesswoman or businessman. It's all you have. I mean, you're not just an artist, you are also a businesswoman, and you're also a businessman. So what advice do you have for new up and coming artists who may not understand business, or may not understand marketing, or just see themselves as the artist, or just see themselves as a rapper? What advice do you have for them?
That's a great question. If you are an independent musician, artist, songwriter, photographer, painter, whatever you're doing, if you're doing it as an independent artist, form an LLC. Step one is go to, yourstate.gov, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, and form your LLC. It costs $105 to incorporate. That's my number one. Start with looking up the different types of corporations you can form and incorporate your name. Go to irs.gov and get your employee identification number. Those are the first two things that any independent person needs to do, because if you don't look at yourself as a business, no one else is going to look at you as a business. So that's number one. That's number one. And I would say from that point on, you're just naturally going to start taking it seriously. If you incorporate yourself, your artist name, something about that piece of paper, something about receiving that says, you know what? Let me make some goals. Let me go out and pull out this notebook. Let me go get my computer and let me set some goals for myself. Because you can't get anything as a business or as an independent with nothing but a whim or a hope, right? Hope is necessary. And, I follow whims often. I follow ideas and inspirations, but they always lead to something that I end up putting down on paper and, writing out and fleshing out. Know everything about the industry that you're a part of. Don't believe what you're getting online without actually going to where the sources of their information are. If it's just some talking face with no links underneath, then what they're saying is useless, So do your research, do your homework. And
thank you.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. And so another problem that a lot of new artists face is you invest and just starting off your business, investing in yourself as a business, and everyone wants to be seen and heard, but sometimes because when you invest in a new project, you're not just investing money, you're also investing your resources and your time. And starting off, you may get a little bit discouraged because you may only have about 100 people. You've spent so much time investing in the videographer, the directors, and speaking of a music video, and you may only have a small following. What would you say to artists who are starting off to not get discouraged in that process?
The road to your success is as long or as short as you believe it to be. I would tell people that success, this is what I believe about success. It's any worthy goal you're constantly working towards. So I'm already a successful rapper. You feel me? Mm-hmm. I've been a successful rapper for 10, 15 years because I've been consistently working towards my goals and my dreams. And so I would say if you're discouraged as a young artist, you probably haven't you probably haven't been booed enough.
Mm.
Like, until you have built up the shell that lets you know, it's not about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about me, it's about them, right? Because it's about the message that you're giving, right?
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, it's not about how you feel on stage. It's not about how it's you want to feel good, but this is not about you. And you want the people in the crowd to feel good, but it's not about the people in the crowd, right? What we always forget as artists, and what I often have forgotten in the past, is that we are here delivering. You're a servant of God when you're an artist. Whether or not you're religious doesn't matter. There's a reason that Satan was the chief musician, and there's a reason that the world is the way it is in our world today. You know what I'm saying? Artists have a very important job in this world, and that is to deliver inspiration, to deliver enlightenment, and to deliver the message, to deliver love to the world. You know, that is our job. So I would say, if you're doing your art because you genuinely get joy from it, keep doing it. Don't get discouraged. Don't allow the accolades or the lack of them to influence you. Don't allow the shows or the bookings or the lack of them to influence you. Do your art because your art is what you have to do no matter what. And nothing else should matter.
Wow. I hope you all taking notes, because he just dropped some real truth, wisdom right there. So with that being said, what is your why?
My why?
Yes, sir.
It's how I breathe, eat, sleep. It's how I find peace. My why for my music is liberation. I'm making liberation music. I write to liberate myself. Yeah.
That's a beautiful why. And I'm going to end this podcast, or this episode, with the question is, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of?
My babies. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I was married for 21 years until until November is when we divorced on paper. May is when she left. And in those 21 years, I did not cheat. I did not hit her, and I did not abuse her emotionally or mentally. You know what I'm saying? So I was a loving, sweet, kind man. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my 3 children, who are an example of everything that I poured into that marriage. And yeah, I'm proud that I'm here. I'm proud of myself for making the vital movement happen after or in what has to this point been the roughest year of my life. And I'm proud of myself for doing the work, the grief work, the crying and the introspection and the deep dives to know who I am, what makes me tick, what I will and won't accept. And I'm proud of my legacy. I'm proud of the legacy I'm already creating and leaving. And I'm proud of many things. I'm proud of my love. I'm proud of the love, the woman that I'm with right now, and what we're creating. I'm proud of the Vital Movement team. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really beautiful. Thank you for coming here and speaking with us. And that concludes today's episode. Again, this is The Artist Journey. We had the pleasure speaking with Megaciph. And until next time.
I'm proud of you for having this show. I'm proud of you for helping. I'm proud of y'all for working together and creating your dreams, making your dreams come true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.